Hey guys, today is Friday's video, as you may have guessed, and I thought I would slap on some MW2 for a bit of a backdrop, seeing as how this video in particular sort of highlighted some of the topics that I wanted to talk about in this video for you guys. Now, I suppose I'll get right to the point here and say that I've been trying to get a bit better at playing Call of Duty. And that has been me playing in COD4, MW2, just trying to get better at the COD world. I think for the most part, I'm content with where I'm at in Battlefield. I am by far more of a support player in Battlefield than I am a Slayer. But I've been trying to sort of up the ante in my ability and my skill level in Call of Duty. And I'm starting to analyze some things that I'm doing wrong, some things that I need to improve in. And one of the things I wanted to talk about is absolute inconsistency when it comes to FPS games. Do you guys know what I'm talking about at all? It's sort of like where you'll start a game out and you'll do very well, and then as the game progresses you start doing worse or worse, or one game you'll do great, then the next game not so great. It's very frustrating for me. Now in this game that I'm highlighting here, I started out with, to my standards in COD, I was doing very well. I think here at the start I end up going, I think it was 16-2 to start off a game. That, I know, to most of you that's crap. But to my standards, that's pretty damn good for me. I'll be content with that all day. But then things start to change. I'll get a bad death that maybe I shouldn't have gotten, or I will get something that's just fluky, like a random noob tube or random grenade. You know, then all of a sudden, like, things start to go downhill almost. Things just start to go the opposite way. It's a weird thing. Whenever you're recording for YouTube, you start a game, and within the first few minutes you can typically tell how it's going to go. If this is going to be something you think you'll keep, or if it's something that's just going to go in the garbage pile immediately. And then there's those games that are teasers. They start off really strong, and you sort of get excited. Like, I might be onto something here that I can show you guys. And then things deteriorate, and then by the end of it, you're just feeling like very much so teased and disappointed that you started off good and then ended up doing poorly. And this was definitely one of those cases where things started off going well and then just deteriorated and started going right down the tube, so to speak. So I figured basically I needed to look at my own gameplay, look at my own things that I'm doing, things I'm doing right, things I'm doing wrong, and try to analyze what I can improve on, what I can try to get away from. And I've started to notice some bad habits that I've picked up along the way. And some of them are absolutely silly, but I think they make a difference. Now, do any of you guys play with FPS freaks? I do. I've been playing with them for about, I want to say, a little over a year and a half maybe? Around that, about that. And in my mind, I think I've gotten better using them with more accuracy, but I'm not completely certain. I know they've made me develop some bad habits. Now, because I play in a tactical button setup, whenever I'm using the FPS freaks, I have to bring my thumb off of the stick all the way down to the B to stab. And because that thumbstick is so much higher, that's usually going to mean I lose close knife battles every time because my thumb is way longer to travel to try to hit that button. So I noticed that as a bit of a detriment in my playstyle and how I'm set up to play when I'm going to lose knife battles most of the time. Typically, if I'm running default, or tactical setup rather, unless I'm stabbing someone in the back or get incredibly lucky, I'm not going to win any knife fights or anything like that. Another thing I've noticed, and this is incredibly stupid, but I'm finding myself struggling to try to break the habit. My left index finger, I keep it off of the damn trigger. The comfortable state, it rests right below the trigger, and I always have to, if I'm going to be looking down sight, I have to lift my left index finger up onto the trigger, then press the trigger to bring up my sights from, say, a run or something. And when I figured out that one, dear God, that cannot be helping me at all. And it's almost frustrating to know that I've picked up such a bad habit just from trying to keep my finger comfortable along the way, that I think it's really been costing me in quite a few games here. So I have been trying to train that, and it's slowly improving, but it's It's just one of those little bad habits that whenever I notice, I'm like, wow, that sucks that I've started to do that. Another one is my right thumb placement. What part of your thumb do you guys put on the middle of the analog stick? Most people I know put the very tip of their thumb right in the center of the impression on the thumbstick, right? Gives you the most agile or most dexterity on the thumbstick, as far as I can tell and from what I've seen, right? I, however, have taken to... I put my first knuckle of my thumb on the middle of my thumbstick. And I can't figure out why, other than it might feel more comfortable with the FPS freaks. So basically, if I picked up my controller here and I got it in my hands while I record this, if I look down at my thumb in its natural position, my right thumb's knuckle is right over the top of the controller, with basically my thumbnail and the tip of my thumb extending over the edge of the damn thumbstick. And just moving it around after I've realized this a couple days ago, it's really no wonder my aim is so terrible, because I'm trying to move it with the middle of my finger. And again, it's another little bad habit that contributes to very poor performance in an FPS game. And I think there's a lot of these little bad habits that I know I'm probably not the only one that picks these up or has developed these or whatnot. And it's actually stunningly difficult to try to train myself to break them. But I guess it's like any habit that if you pick up, it's going to be difficult to get rid of. So I've actually going to take off my FPS freaks and see if maybe they haven't been causing some of these bad habits, and see how I do over a week or two maybe of playing completely without them. So that is something I'm going to give a try and see what happens. And then I guess that from there brings me to bad habits that aren't necessarily how I do like with the controller or whatnot, but bad habits that I do in game. I have found that I am a habitual reloader, and it's oftentimes to my detriment. I think I developed this one back in COD 4, and there's been so many times when I kill somebody, I go to instantly reload without really taking an assessment of my surroundings, and I get killed because there's a second guy just coming right around then while I'm caught mid-reload, and I get destroyed. I seem to do that a lot. I seem to reload while I'm on the move, but I think that comes from my tendency to try to be a running gunner from back in COD 4, which it is my preferred way of playstyle, but it's just so hard to try to get any sort of decent performance out of that while trying to be as mobile as I like to be. Unless it's something like search and destroy rush routes or capture the flag as a flag runner. When it comes to those, I'm absolutely in my element, but I'm definitely noticing like just so many in-game bad habits I gotta try to break myself out of if I want to try to improve. So this has basically been a long introduction to a video series that I'm going to start putting out occasionally on my channel that will be dedicated to me posting up an entire gameplay with no editing, where I might do kind of bad or poorly or whatnot, and I'm going to try to rely on you guys to tell me what I did wrong, how I can improve, things I should try different, and we'll see what can happen. I figured for a good while there I've been helping people get better at Battlefield, and so maybe you guys can help me get better at COD. So I thought it might be fun to put up and get some interaction between you guys and I, and see what you guys have to say or what to offer. So let me know if you think this would be entertaining or a fun series to do, and we'll go from there, I guess. Take care, guys. I hope you enjoyed the video. I will see you Monday.